The dark history of Valentine's Day. The truth. They don't want you to know Valentine's Day is frequently viewed as a celebration of romance, love, and sincere actions. Yet its history is much more sinister than the contemporary celebration would imply. Beneath the cheery cards, flowers, and chocolates is a history of violent killings, pagan blood rituals, religious deception, and even connections to organized crime. In this video, we will show you 7 shocking truths about Valentine's Day that reveal its grim and complex past. Number 7. It began with bloodshed. The ancient Roman fertility celebration known as Lupercalia, which is observed every year from February 13th to 15th, is where Valentine's Day got its start. Faunus, the Roman counterpart of the Greek god, Pan, and Lupercus, the fertility and agricultural deity, were honored at this pagan celebration. At the cave of Lupercal, the fabled location where Romulus and Remus, the founders of Rome, were nursed by a she-wolf, the Luperci priests ceremoniously sacrificed goats and dogs to start the festival. Young ladies were whipped as they ran through the streets using the sliced, blood-soaked skins of the murdered animals. It was Number 6. The legend of Saint Valentine is grim. Saint Valentine is frequently given credit for the beginnings of Valentine's Day's association with love and devotion, but the reality is far more nuanced. According to historical accounts, the Roman Empire martyred at least 3 distinct Saint Valentines because they were Christian. The most well-known tale concerns Saint Valentine of Rome, a priest who is said to have lived in the 3rd century AD under Emperor Claudius II. Legend has it that Claudius forbade young men from getting married because he thought that unmarried men were better, more devoted soldiers. Valentine surreptitiously performed Christian weddings in defiance of the emperor's commands, which ultimately resulted in his incarceration. Valentine was tortured after being imprisoned and given a death sentence. According to some sources, he was beaten with clubs and finally beheaded on February 14th, 269 AD. According to another account, Valentine made friends with his jailer's blind daughter while he was awaiting execution, and by praying for her sight, miraculously recovered it. Number 5. A holiday built on martyrdom. In an effort to replace pagan customs with Christian ones, the Catholic Church had a major role in transforming Saint Valentine's Day from a day of martyrs to a celebration of love. Pope Gelasius I formally proclaimed February 14th as Saint Valentine's feast day by the late 5th century, probably in an attempt to discredit Lupercalia, which the Church considered to be immoral and unholy because of its violent and sexually suggestive content. However, the early Saint Valentine's Day celebrations were religious observances intended to honor slain saints rather than amorous ones. The holiday's actual origins grew hazy as Christianity expanded throughout Europe over time, and Valentine's Day, especially in the Middle Ages, became a day connected to romantic devotion. Poets like Geoffrey Chaucer are sometimes associated with this change in meaning. In his poem Parliament of Fowls, published in 1382, Chaucer connected February 14th to the concept of birds selecting their spouses, thereby solidifying the idea that the day is a celebration of love. The fact that Valentine's Day was once created to commemorate a man who was cruelly executed rather than to celebrate love, however, means that its development into a romantic festival is the result of centuries of ecclesiastical and cultural reinterpretation. Number 4. Love letters from prison. The first ever Valentine's letter, purportedly written by Saint Valentine himself from his jail cell, is one of the most well-known myths surrounding Saint Valentine's Day. Valentine made friends with his jailer's blind daughter while he was awaiting death, and other versions of the story say that he used prayer to miraculously heal her of her blindness. They developed a close relationship, and it is said that he wrote her a parting note signed, "From your Valentine," shortly before he was brought to his demise. Historians contend that despite the widespread dissemination of this tragic yet romantic narrative, there is no reliable evidence to corroborate it. Actually, centuries pass before a Valentine's note is mentioned for the first time. Whether or not the story of Saint Valentine's prison letter is true, it has undoubtedly contributed to the enduring tradition of writing heartfelt messages on February 14th. Number 3, massacres and mafia ties. Beyond its romantic connotations, Valentine's Day has served as the setting for one of the most infamous gangland executions in American history. At the height of Chicago's Prohibition era, on February 14, 1929, the notorious Saint Valentine's Day massacre occurred. In this heinous incident, enemies purportedly working for Al Capone executed 7 members of the North Side Gang, led by George "Bugs" Moran. Capone's men, posing as police officers, lined up Moran's gang members in a garage and used Tommy guns to shoot them to death, leaving their bodies covered in bullet marks. The goal of the massacre was to kill Moran and solidify Capone's control over Chicago's illicit liquor trade. The nation was appalled by the heinousness of the murders, which solidified February 14th as a day connected to treachery and violence rather than love. The phrase Saint Valentine's Day Massacre is still notorious despite the fact that the incident had nothing to do with the romantic occasion, demonstrating that February 14th is as much a day of violence as it is of love. Number 2, a capitalist reinvention. Far from its somber beginnings, Valentine's Day had become a highly commercialized occasion by the 19th and 20th centuries. Esther Howland, an American businesswoman dubbed the Mother of the American Valentine, is credited for bringing mass-produced greeting cards to the public's attention. She set the stage for the economic explosion of Valentine's Day in the mid-1800s by starting to sell ornate lace-trimmed cards. By the 20th century, Valentine's Day had become a billion-dollar industry thanks to businesses like Hallmark, with jewelry, chocolates, flowers, and greeting cards becoming standard presents. With Americans alone spending over $25 billion on gifts and festivities each year, Valentine's Day is currently one of the most profitable holidays for businesses. Number 1, not everyone loves it. Not everyone celebrates Valentine's Day, despite the fact that it is widely observed. Governments claim that the holiday encourages Western values, consumerism, and immorality, which is why it is restricted or outlawed in a number of Middle Eastern and Asian nations. Backlash against Valentine's Day celebrations has been witnessed in countries including Iran, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and India, where authorities have cracked down on stores selling Valentine's Day products and public displays of affection. Many people worldwide, on the other hand, disapprove of the holiday for private reasons, believing it to be a staged occasion that feeds irrational romantic fantasies. Not everyone considers Valentine's Day to be a reason to celebrate, whether because of cultural resistance or personal skepticism. Valentine's Day may be about love today, but its history is filled with blood, sacrifice, and deception. Behind the romance lies a darker truth they don't want you to know. If you liked our video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel.